Good noon once again. And yeah, I will go straight to my question. How do you assess the day 4 of this impeachment trial that's ongoing?
Well, as I have stated, no surprises para sa akin. I think the prosecution went nowhere. Wala silang kinapuntahan. Yung mga testigo nila are just supposed to prove na merong video.
Mm-hmm.
However, itong depensa was able to veer away dun sa gusto ng prosecution. At ngayon, ang naipakita dito is that how incompetent NBI was in the preparation of their investigation. Number 2, na mukhang beforehand, nakaredy na yung kanilang report sa investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And that this was, poorly prepared talaga. Hindi naka-ready yung NBI, parang basta may maitapon lang kay BP Sara. Hindi nila naiayos pati yung mga dokumento nila. And thirdly, one thing that for me is very glaring is that yung difference ng treatment dito ng NBI sa kaso ni BP Sara at saka doon sa naging pahayag ng mga 18 Marines na parang dinismiss na lang ng DOJ, ng NBI, yung kanilang mga pahayag, and instead of investigating, ang ginawa, background check lang yung mga NBI agents, parang just to discredit them. Only later to find out natin na yung palang testimonya ng ilan doon sa mga ex-Marines yun ay gagamitin naman pala nila dito kay Romualdez.
Mm-hmm.
So I think yung NBI is confused dun sa kung ano talaga yung gagawin nila at this time.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Naging sentro po ng cross-examination kagabi. Yung, how do we call that form again? Yung investigation form. I forgot the exact term of that. Pero kine-question ng depensa yung some inconsistencies doon sa investigation form na yon, na merong mga stamps of receiving kung saan yung mga dates ay parang hindi nagko-coincide. How important that is, attorney, and how will it affect how will it affect the standing of those documents as evidence on this impeachment trial?
Well, normally, yung namang mga typographical errors, nangyayari naman talaga yan, ay hindi masyadong binibigyan ng weight ng hukuman unless yung material points na kung saan nagkaroon ng error ay very critical dun sa kaso.
Mm-hmm.
In this particular case, yung hindi pagtutugma-tugma ng mga petsa ng NBI, there is a pattern eh. Makita mo halos lahat ng dokumento nila, lisya-lisya . So this means na wala talagang investigasyon na nangyari. And I think that's what the defense has been harping on. Kaya paulit-ulit yung tanong, inimbestigahan nyo ba talaga ito? Or naka-prepare na ito? Somebody did this for you, mga taga-signature na lang kayo dito sa report na ito. And apparently, parang ganun ang lumalabas ngayon sa investigation because of so many inconsistencies. Na ang report nito, wala talagang investigasyon na nangyari. There was a predetermined outcome. At sinabi na lang, ito ang gusto naming lumabas dyan. Ang problema nila, they were not competent enough na ayusing mabuti yung mga papeles. Because nga siguro, pawardi-wardi lang, kasi alam nila, whatever they do, masasampahan ng kaso si Sara Duterte. Yun lang naman ang instruction sa kanila. I mean, would you imagine, this is the NBI, a National Bureau of Investigation under the Department of Justice. How can they possibly commit a mistake? Sa dami ng mga tauhan nila na yan, sa dami na mag-handle ng documents for them. How can they possibly commit mistakes on material points? Lalo yung mga petsa, yung subpoena, yung mga letter nila, yung mga affidavit, hindi nagtutugma-tugma yung mga petsa. So mahirap papaniwalaan na ordinaryong typographical error ito. Kung isang dokumento lang, pwede pa. Pero kung series of documents na ito, it shows a pattern. Ang pattern nito is a pattern of incompetence and a pattern of a predetermined outcome na ginawa na itong report bago pa man sila nagkaroon ng investigasyon.
Okay. So you mentioned na parang lumalabas na signatory na lang yung mga witness na pinipresenta. Actually, attorney, that manifest on the scene on the impeachment trial last night kasi si Attorney Lotok, if I'm not mistaken, has repeatedly answered the counsel for the defense na I was not the one who personally prepared for that. Meron akong agent na inutusan, I gave an order of this and that. Do you think that answer holds water in this trial?
Hindi. Yung pag-iwas nila sa sagot na yon goes to show na wala silang personal knowledge dun sa mga tinetestifyan nila. Alam mo, dalawang testigo na ito, both of them testified. Pag tinanong sila tungkol dun sa mga outcome of the investigation, kung nagtanong ba tungkol sa mga threats against Sara Duterte, the answer is uniform. Hindi po ako yung tamang tao para dyan. Di ba? Somebody else. Ask my superior. But not me. No, kasi ang instruction sa kanila, hanggang dito lang kayo sasagot. So, all the rest, diba, parang sila, may instruction siguro, or yun ang part of the briefing, na let others answer that for you. So, ang pinatutunayan lang nila, ang napatunayan pa lang so far ng prosecution, I think, number one, sa video naman, hindi naman kailangan talaga na pahabain yung presentation, yung discussion dyan sa video. I don't even think that there was an objection or a challenge from the defense regarding the materiality of the video. Kasi, or yung authenticity of the video. Kasi, adopted ito as a common exhibit. So, exhibit din ito ng depensa. Ang pinag-uusapan lang dito ngayon ay mayroon bang criminal liability based on the utterances doon sa video. And so far, ang naprove pa lang ng prosecution, hindi pa nga properly established, yung video, the existence of the video. Halos buong Pilipinas napanood na yung video. So I don't know what they're trying to prove up until this time. Ang haba-haba na, nakaka-4 na araw na tayo doon sa they're still proving the existence of the video. So that's what I'm saying. They're getting nowhere, and nagkakapuntos pa dito yung depensa kasi ngayon nailalabas ng depensa yung bias ng NBI in the conduct of the investigations. So, I think yung aking assumption na talagang inuna lamang ito ng prosecution, yung Article 4, not because this is their strongest case. It is only because dito lang sila may available witnesses. Kasi nga, yan yung NBI. But being a witness doesn't necessarily mean that you're telling the truth or that you are an effective witness. Mukhang itong dalawa na ito na so far na impresenta nila ay hindi talaga effective witnesses kasi lalo yung si Attorney Lonto kahapon, parang ang ginagawa niya is mga legal conclusion na meron daw grave threats, merong pagbabanta ang Vice Presidente without even mentioning the context by which kung bakit nasabi yung ganon. Kaya mapansin mo nung tinatanong siya ng Defense Counsel, inimbestigahan mo ba yung mga threats sa buhay ng Vice Presidente? Sinabi lang niya, naging bahagi yun ng kanilang sulat pero wala silang mga pinagtatanong tungkol dito. So they're not interested dun sa backdrop of the story why it was stated. So alam lang nila, basta nagsalita yung Vice Presidente, may kaso na. Ito na ngayon, impeachment na agad.
And one striking moment there, attorney, was when the defense asked Attorney Lotok if he was aware of the first of the previous impeachment complaint filed against Vice President Sara Duterte, ang sagot niya is no, he didn't, he had no knowledge about it. But how can that be reconciled, attorney, knowing that he is, if I'm not mistaken, he is a regional director of NBI.
Mhm.
I mean,
That's impossible, ano? That's almost impossible na hindi niya malaman 'yon. Una nga, you are a lawyer, first of all. Ano, every lawyer sa Pilipinas inaabangan yung magiging outcome ng desisyon ng Korte Suprema diyan. Ikalawa, he is with the national government. I mean, just for you to say na hindi mo alam 'yon, ano yun, parang saan nagtagong kuweba nung nakaraang taon, di ba? Na hindi mo nalaman yung pinag-uusapan na balita sa buong Pilipinas nung panahon na yon. So that will show you na ito, nagsisinungaling talaga itong mga testigo na ito. Kasi siguro hindi ito part of the briefing. Hindi ito kasama doon sa mga pinag-usapan nila. But the duty of the defense here is not to stick on the story. Ano? Hindi ka kailangan mag-stick doon sa storya ng prosecution. Kasi pag ikaw ay in cross-examination, you are given the latitude. Mas malawak ang iyong pwedeng pagbasihan ng pagtatanong at minaximize ito ng depensa. And they went to other aspects and other questions not related dun sa kanyang direct testimony just to test his credibility. Doon sa mga pagsagot-sagot niya, I think na watered down talaga, no, nabawasan yung credibility ng testigo na ito.
And yun nga, it led to one of the senator judges questioning the how do we call this, the credibility or the on how the NBI assess public threats. Just like when Senator Villanueva questioned about yung paano ba tinitreat ng NBI kung ito ay threat as actionable when there is no specific alleged hitman being identified yet. Sabi pa nga ni Senator Villanueva, if the alleged assassin cannot be identified or located, does that automatically mean that there is the threat is no longer credible or actionable? What's your view on this?
Exactly. Tama po yun. Because they were trying to establish, una, that si Sara Duterte daw ay seryoso sa kanyang threat na iyon. Pero hindi nila inimbestigahan at wala silang verifiable information sino yung kinausap. Was there anyone actually contacted ni BP Sara to do that? O ito ba isang bluff? Ikalawa, yung namang sa threat sa buhay ni BP Sara Duterte, they actually did nothing to verify o investigate. Wala naman silang ibang kinausap except sa kanila. At yung sa statement pa ni Lotok, tinatanong siya anong basehan niya for saying na yung threat is genuine na ginawa ni Sara Duterte. Ang reference niya is the statement itself. Mukha daw seryoso, magsisinungaling daw ba yung vice presidente? Anong klaseng investigador yun? Diba? Kahit ako pwede kong gawin yun. Kahit yung mga nagtitinda ng banana Q sa labas, pwede sabihin yun. Tatinig ko si VP Sara, sinabi yun. So, malamang seryoso yun. Without even verifying as NBI kung totoo ba yung deklarasyon na yun or is it a bluff? No? Yung statement na yun ng vice presidente. Is it a political strategy? So, lalo't kung ikaw ay nasa politika, there is a wider latitude sa mga sinasabi mo. Lalo't ang pinagsasabihan mo ay public official din. Because remember, yung context is very important in this case. Because that statement by BP Sara was made in response to a possible threat in her life. So, yun ang naging response niya. Pag pinatay ako, meron akong kinausap na papatayin din sila. So, yun nga it's both hypothetical and conditional. Hypothetical kasi kung hindi pa nga sure kung may papatay nga kay VP Sara Duterte. So it's happening, is not even sure. But if it happens, saka pa lamang magte-take effect yung threat na yan. So how does that qualify as grave threat under sa definition ng grave threat sa batas natin? So tapos nagagawa na lang si Lontok ng kanyang sariling legal conclusion dahil daw doon tingin niya meron na agad the violation of law. But he is not qualified to do that. He's just an NBI agent. Hindi naman siya husgado para magdetermine.
Mhm. And with this action of the NBI attorney, kasi they made an action against the vice president on this alleged threat by the vice president or inimbestigahan itong si Vice President Sara on the alleged threat on the life of the president, his wife, and then his cousin, the former House Speaker. But the defense has been questioning who was the complainant, who filed the complaint. It's a matter of the question of the aggrieved party, but it comes to show na parang wala naman yata sa mga complainant yung mga sina President Marcos doon, and then the First Lady, and then the former Speaker. Yeah,
yun ang very very telling doon. That this investigation was initiated by the NBI and the DOJ motu proprio on their own, without anyone complaining. Hindi nagreklamo ang presidente, si Liza Araneta, or even si Martin Romualdez. So they decided, nadinig namin ito, so imbestigahan natin. So paano mag-a-arrive at a different conclusion yung NBI? Sila na pala nagsabi na imbestigahan natin. And dito lumalabas itong punto ng depensa. That when the decision was made to investigate, there was already actually a conclusion on the part of the NBI. Kaya pati yung mga dokumento nila, nagkaloko-loko na, hindi magtugma-tugma yung mga petsa. Kasi even before they could have issued the subpoenas, nakaprepara na yung mga dokumento nila. So nauuna pa yung mga affidavits kaysa doon sa actual na mga subpoena. So dito lalong nawawalan ng kredibilidad ng NBI in the conduct of this investigation. This only validated yung suspicion ng maraming mga tao na itong supposed investigation nito sa NBI ay sarsuela lang, na hindi totoo ito. This is a political gimmick and a weaponization of the entire bureaucracy of government against the opposition. I think yung naratibo na yan, mas lalong nasuportahan nitong mga ebidensyang inilalabas ng prosecution at this juncture. Hindi ito nakakatulong sa kanila both in the legal arena and the public opinion arena. Yung dalawa kasing nagdinig dito, dumidinig ito, sinabi ko na sa inyo,
Yes.
Ito yung impeachment court itself and the bar of public opinion.
Yes.
In the bar of public opinion, this is supposed to be a optics war ito Parang nangangampanya ka sa mga tao to convince them that Sara Duterte should not be voted sa 2028. Pero with the evidence coming out like this, at yung credibility ng mga testigo nila being put into full view ng mga mamamayan, nagiging malinaw sa taong bayan that this is all a political gimmick, itong impeachment ito. Kung dati siguro parang suspicion lang ito ng mga tao, habang lumalaan itong impeachment, nagiging malinaw na totoo yung sapantaha o yung iniisip ng mga tao na ito nga ay it's just harassment against VP Sara para hindi siya makatakbo sa 2028, or even tumakbo man siya, they wanted to reduce her to a damaged good na parang mala Jejo Marbinay ang gusto nilang mangyari kay VP Sara.
But the sad part is that, attorney, this is a very, very expensive campaign operation by whoever is responsible to this.
Indeed. I mean, would you imagine 2.3 billion for an impeachment? Tapos ang inahabol mo is supposedly 125 million.
Mhm.
I mean, who's gonna benefit from this? Ano? Politika ito. So, pati ngayon sa block, kung lumalabas nga yung totoo ito, na ito ay black propaganda lang nila, pati ba naman ito, tayo pa rin ang magbabayad, di ba?
Mhm.
So, lahat na lang, taong bayan ang gagastos. Kung this is your politics, then so be it. Pero wag nyo kaming isama dyan sa pagbabayad na yan, di ba? Sayang yung 2.3 billion yan. Ilang sako ng bigas yan, di ba? Ilang eskwela nang naitayo. Sana kung yan ay ginagamit sa maayos na pamamaraan. Tapos ito lang ipapakita nila sa atin, di ba? 4 na araw of nonsense ng puro kalokohan at kasinungalingan. Yan ang binabayaran natin, ang 25 million pesos a day. Come on, di ba? Sinong hindi magagalit dyan na taong bayan?
So that's actually 25 million pesos a day budget.
Yes. Yun ang...
Okay. On hold. Okay. Okay, we're back.
Naputol yata.
Yes, naputol
Yeah.
the attorney. Okay. Yeah, so 25 million budget per day.
Mhm.
Grabe.
Yes. That's yun ang sabi ng records ng Senado, 25 million. So they are expecting a expenses ng mga about 2.3 billion in the whole 90 plus days na tatakbo itong hearing sa Senado.
Mhm. Okay. Pero going back, attorney, on the part where the NBI conducted their motu proprio investigation, they acted on the alleged threat on the life of the president and the first lady and his cousin. But didn't the NBI also have the visibility on the root cause why the vice president uttered those, especially this so-called Romanov or Operation Romanov against the vice president? I mean, is it patas ba na they investigated on the alleged threat on the life of the president and his family, but somewhat disregarded the cause why the vice president uttered those words, just like this so-called Operation Romanov against the vice president?
Yung Operation Romanov. Yun nga yun ang sinasabi natin, itong hypocrisy ng pamahalaan of the NBI. Todo effort sila dito sa supposed investigation kay Sara Duterte. Pero hindi rin naman nila vinalidate kung totoo nga may kinausap. Pero pagdating dito sa threat naman sa buhay ni Sara Duterte, parang wala rin silang kinausap. Wala namang actual na inimbestigahan. Sinabi lang nila, wala silang nare-receive na verifiable information. At pagdating naman sa threat ni Sara Duterte, ang verifiable information nila is the video itself. Yun na yun. So, parang kitang-kita mo dito yung partiality of the NBI. And another thing, makikita mo nga, is yung kung paano natin rato yung kaso kay BP Sara. And also, the way they treated yung reklamo naman ng 18 Marines. Magkaiba ang pagtrato. Yung isa ay 805 billion na sinasabing ninakaw, pero wala, parang wala lang. Diba? Ang imbestigahan pa nga nila, ang pinagtatanong pa yung mga 18 Marines. And then eventually sila pa yung mga pinagkakasuhan. So, parang dito sa ating bansa, pag gumawa ka ng mabuti, ikaw ang ipapakulong. No good deeds goes unpunished. Ika nga.
Okay. And ito pong on the issue naman of conditional threats, no? Na yun nga yung sinasabi ng Vice President na kung ipapapatay niyo ako, then I already have asked somebody else to kill you as well. Do you think this is going to be take position or is going to prosper in this argument of the defense?
Well, here's the truth. Parang wag na tayong maglokohan tungkol dito. The truth of the matter is ang impeachment na to has been decided even before the hearing started. Ang impeachment hearing is not like a hearing sa korte. This is all about this is divided along political lines. Bago pa man sila mag-umpisa dyan, alam na natin ang bilang. Kaya naghahanap ng 16 votes yung majority, di ba? Kaya may mga tinatakot, may pinapakulong, hoping na maibaba yung threshold. So we don't have to be a hypocrite about it. That's the way it is. And as it stands today, kahit anong klase ng ebidensyang ipresenta mo dyan. You think yung majority will change their mind? You think sina Risa Hontiveros, sina Tulfo, will change their mind and then acquit si Sara Duterte after all of their pronouncements already? Wala na. This case has already been prejudged. So kaya nga sabi ko, nagsasayang lang tayo ng oras dito sa kunwaring sarswelang presentasyon ng evidence when this has already been decided long ago. The defense, the prosecution knew beforehand na hindi sila mananalo sa impeachment unless makakuha sila ng 16 votes or maibaba nila yung threshold ng voting. That's their only chance of impeaching Sara Duterte. But as it stands today, there is no chance. So para saan itong impeachment na to? Well, I think, ang opinion ko dyan, this is all about 2028. This is a political gimmick para lang siraan yung vice presidente. Para nga magmistula siyang si Jejo Marbinay noong 2016. Bago maghalala noong 2016, binanata na siya ng administrasyon, thinking na siya yung magiging kalaban ni Mar Rojas. But nagkamali sila, sumulpot bigla si Rodrigo Duterte. So nasayang lahat yung effort ng kabibira nila kay Jejo Marbinay. And I think this is the same playbook. Pareho din ang ginagawa ng kasalukuyang administrasyon. Tirahin mo ng tirahin yung iyong kalaban to soften it up.
And how hard or how massive do you think will the damage in terms of the political career of Vice President Sara Duterte? Will this impeachment trial cause?
Well, if the datas are correct, itong mga lumalabas na mga survey, even leading towards this impeachment. Yung second quarter performance ng pangulo ng administrasyon ay umabot na sila sa negative 27. There is another survey that came out, SWS naman 'yon. Mas mataas-taas siya ng konti, negative 7. Pero negative pa rin. Hindi pa rin siya pumapasok doon sa positive threshold. This only means na so far, lahat ng ginagawa ng administrasyon na ito is not working. It's not doing them any good. Ang baliktad ang nangyayari. Kasi ang assumption nila dito is that I think yung mga Pilipino madaling i-manipulate through media, social media, yung mga trolls, na maniniwala tayo. Pero marami ng mga Pilipino ngayon ay natututo, nagsisipag-aral na. Kaya nga yung sa aking vlog, yun ang aking extra, mahirap pakialam, ang taong walang alam. I encourage people to study, mag-aral kayo. Because the power of knowledge is already in your fingertips. Kasi halos 95% of Filipinos may cellphone. So kung gusto mo mag-research, all you have to do is to click your phone. This is the age of information. Kaya mas mahirap lokohin ang taong bayan. And I think this is where yung mga political strategies of BBM and this administration ay nagkakamali because they are assuming na pareho pa rin ang mga Pilipino noon, nalulunurin mo lang sa ayuda, disinformation, and then you can swing it to the other side. Pero parang baliktad na nangyayari, instead na bumababa yung rating ni Sara Duterte, parang tumataas pa rin. Pero let's not be parang sarado ang isip tungkol dito. To be realistic about it, pag ganitong may mga kampanya against you, the popularity of VP Sara Duterte will eventually take a hit. May magkakaroon ng damage yan. However, ang tingin ko, yung damage na nagagawa nila is not substantial.
Okay.
Hindi siya sapat. Because there is no transfer of yung pagkagusto ng mga tao from Sara papunta sa kanila.
Mhm.
So I don't think this is working. Yan ang problema ng administrasyon because they do not have a viable candidate na po pwedeng ikonsidera ng mga mapamayan as an alternative to Sara Duterte.
Now, with this ongoing actions, attorney, by the administration, and then versus the available data, yun nga yung mga na mention yun na mga survey results na yun nga nagiging negative pa rin yung administration. Yeah, I'm not sure if I am competent enough to say na whatever legitimate process there is, it looks like it's leaning towards not favorable to the administration. If that is the case, attorney, what could be the worst case scenario for the administration to do or to declare if all of their cards are being laid down and eventually still they're failed?
Well, I would assume na yung kanilang mga political strategies meron yung plan A to Z. Ito na nga yun, simula pa ito ng impeach kay Sara noong 2024, pagkatapos kinulong si Digong noong 2025, and tapos ngayon another impeachment. They're really pushing it. Ang problema dyan, if everything else fails, so at gusto pa rin nilang manatili si BBM sa pwesto, there are only two options left.
Okay, we're back. Yes.
Magkaroon ng pagbabago sa konstitusyon at saka magkaroon ng martial law or declaration of war, magkaroon ng gera.
Okay.
Yun ang paraan para mapigilan itong halalan. But ang bottom line is the only way to stop Sara Duterte is either walang eleksyon or if Sara Duterte dies, kung wala nang kasing impeachment. I don't think is in the offing or bahagi pa rin ng usapin dito. I think the impeachment is a lost cause already.
Okay. And hopefully hindi naman po aabot doon sa puntong yon na that would cost the life of Vice President Sara Duterte. I think lastly, attorney, what would be your message to our fellow Filipinos? Kasi nga it has been your advocacy to educate them on the political knowledge on our politics right now, on our governance. What would be your message po?
Well, tayong lahat ng mga mamamayan, we only have to stand firm kung mga bagay na pinaniniwalaan natin. But yun ang tanong dyan, ano ba ang pinaniniwalaan mo? So you have to pick up a cause at ipagtanggol mo ito to the best of your ability. It doesn't matter kung pro-BBM ka or pro-Duterte ka or pro-whoever it is. Ang para sa akin lang, whatever yung political leaning mo is, you must always be pro-Filipino. Tingnan mo kung alin at saan mas nakakabuti ang sambayan ng Pilipino. Kasi at the end of the day, all of these political colors will disappear. And only one color will remain. This one. Ito, yung nasa likod ko. The color of the flag. That's who we are. We are not yellow. We are not red. We are not pink. Not green. We are Filipinos at the end of the day. So tayong lahat, let us work together for a better Philippines. Magtulong-tulong tayo dito. But make sure that the cause that you are fighting for is worth dying for. Is worth dying for. There's so many people now na ipakulong na, at some of them are suffering, mga senators are suffering sa mga kulungan possibly for crimes they never committed. So tayong lahat, if we are not going to stand up on our rights, kung pwedeng gawin ito sa mga taong may kapangyarihan at may impluwensya, ano kaya ang pwedeng gawin sa atin? So I encourage everyone, always participate. Makilahok kayo ay makisali sa diskurso at lagi po kayo na magsisipag-aral. Kasi nga, mahirap po talagang makialam ng taong walang alam. God bless you po. God bless us all. Mabuhay po ang Republika ng Pilipinas.